How's it going, Habibis? You guys asked for a complete breakdown on how to play dinos. We are going to go over the basic combos so that you guys can play this deck efficiently and effectively, and you guys too can get that Dino DNA in you. Alright, if you like this video and find it helpful, hit that thumbs up button. It means a lot to me. It helps out the channel a ton, and it's free to do. Also consider subbing. That's something that's free as well, and it helps so much. So thank you guys. Let's get into these so we're not wasting any more time.
I've had what they call Dino DNA.
The first combo we're going to go over is going to be your bread and butter combo. It's going to involve the two big dogs in the deck, or should I say the two big dinos. Miscellaneousaurus and Soul Eating Oviraptor. These are your two key starter pieces. If you see these two cards in your hand going first, you're probably going to win. These are two very powerful cards for the deck, but this exact combo can also be done using Oviraptor and Baby Ceratosaurus, or Miscellaneousaurus and Baby Ceratosaurus, and I'll show you guys how to do that later. But first, here's what I like to do. I like to go Oviraptor, normal summon it. Now, if my opponent has Ash or Imperm, it's great here to chain Miscellaneousaurus to negate, to make their effects of Ash Blossom or Imperm or Effect Veiler completely useless, because when I chain my Misc, I would make all my dinos unaffected. So that is something to keep in mind as well. That is a huge thing that dinos can do. We can dodge a lot of hand traps. So we're going to activate the Misc effect, so now all our dinos are unaffected, and we're going to activate Misc's second effect here to banish one dino, being itself, to summon out Archosaur. So now Archosaur is on the field. We are going to use its effect to pop the baby to get the pill. So we popping babies and we popping pills. That's what we do. That's what dino players do, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to summon my Petite Pterodon with my Baby Ceratosaurus' effect. Here is where we start doing things a little bit differently than you might be used to. So we're going to go Archosaur here, okay? I'm sorry, we're going to link off Archosaur into Link Karibo. And then we're going to go into Sprite Elf using our Petite Pterodon and our Link Karibo. So this does a few things for us. One, it makes our two boss monsters that we end on untargetable by the opponent. So that's one thing. The second thing that it does is it allows us to bring back our Petite Pterodon as well as overextend next turn to get another Petite Pterodon back. And you're going to see what I mean at the end of this combo. So we're going to use Oviraptor's effect here. And remember, this is just with two cards, Misc and Oviraptor. We're going to summon the Baby Ceratosaurus from the deck. From the graveyard. Then Petite Pterodon is going to trigger, summoning the Xeno Meteorus from the deck. So now we're going to use Xeno Meteorus' effect to pop the baby. Okay? It's going to allow us to summon our copy of Frostosaurus. And then the baby that was popped is going to allow us to summon any level 4 or lower dino. We have the choice between Giant Rex and Misc, so we are not going to be able to overextend with Giant Rex in the graveyard here, because we're not going to be able to get it to the graveyard before we use our pill. So you have an option. You can either summon the Giant Rex for next turn to be able to do that, or you can summon the Misc and use Misc as a follow-up for next turn. I like to go Misc in this situation because it gives me something that, you know, if next turn somehow my board gets broken, I have Misc follow-up plays for the next turn. So here we're going to go into our copy of Evolzar Dolka. I like to go Dolka. You can also go Lagia here. Lagia is a Solemn Judgment with legs. So it negates spell and traps, it negates a monster summon. But you can only do it once. I like Dolka because it negates and destroys two monster effects, which I think is huge for the deck. So we're going to go Dolka, and we're going to put it right next to our Sprite Elf. In the arrow pointing to our Sprite Elf. Next, we're going to go into Evolzar Solda. Now, Solda is a good card, but typically this would be our copy of Evolzar Lars, which is going to be coming in, I think, about a week. So I'll try to put on the screen when it's going to come, but I think it's going to come in about a week. And Solda's a good card, but let's be honest, he's no Lars. So to finish off this combo, we're going to go double Evo Pill, and we are going to banish the Archosaur and the Link Karibo, and we are going to summon our Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. So what do we have here? We have two monster negates and destroys. We have two special summon destructions. We have untargeting on our Dolka and our UCT, as well as we have UCT's effect to flip everything face down. Now we also have another disruption here that is hidden. So this is what I was talking about earlier. What we have with the Sprite Elf is we can bring back the Petite Pterodon, okay? We can bring this back, and then when we choose to activate UCT's effect, this can float into another disruption. Now I'm going to activate my, we can also activate Solda here, but I'm going to activate UCT's effect, okay? Just to demonstrate. So we activate UCT's effect, we pop the Petite Pterodon. So now when we pop the Petite Pterodon, what happens? It allows us to go into Pankratops. So Pankratops is another disruption. So you could tribute the Pankratops. So like for instance here, tribute the Pankratops and pop this field spell. So now that effect that they activated will not be able to resolve because it will no longer be face up on the field. So that is a huge disruption board just with 2 cards using Miscellaneousaurus and Soul Eating Oviraptor. We saw what happens when we go Miscellaneousaurus and Soul Eating Oviraptor, but what about when it's Miscellaneousaurus and Baby Cerosaurus? Well, not much changes. So same thing here, we're gonna start off with Misc. Now all our dinos are unaffected by card effects, and we are going to banish that Misc, use its second effect, to summon out our Archosaur. Now Archosaur is going to trigger, and we are going to pop the baby that we have in hand. We are going to grab the pill, and then we are going to use the unalived baby to summon out our soul-eating Oviraptor, and we are essentially now in the same position that we were in previously. So I'm going to grab Petite Pterodon here, okay? I still haven't normal summoned. I'm going to normal summon the Petite Pterodon, and we are going to do the exact same thing. So, like I said previously, this combo can be done with Miscellaneousaurus and Ovi. It could be done with Miscellaneousaurus and Baby. It could also be done with Ovi and Baby, where in that case you would normal summon Ovi, search for Misc, and then activate Misc's effect. And then from there do the same thing that we're doing here. Activate Misc's second effect, summon the Arch, pop the baby in the hand. You know, same thing, rinse and repeat. So you think about that, along with the fact that a lot of these combos with this deck are even more accessible and more consistent, considering the fact that we have 3 copies of Fossil Dig, which lets us search for any of these combo pieces. So it's very easy to pull this off. You know, there's a lot of possibilities that we can make this work. So we're gonna activate Xenometeorus' effect, pop the baby, summon the Frost from the deck, use this. We went Misc last time, we go Giant Rex this time, it doesn't matter. And then from here, same exact thing. We went Dolka, we can go Lagia if we'd like. So let's go Lagia. Lagia is a good card. Actually, in a lot of cases, with this particular board where you're not setting up an Omni-Negate, such as with Baron de Flor, maybe Lagia is the more safe route because of the fact that if your opponent evenly matches you, if your opponent, you know, activates Raigeki or something, you're not completely screwed and you have some type of disruption to stop spell and trap negates. So here is the board. Same thing, we have the follow-up next turn with Pankratops. We could bring back the Petite with the Sprite Elf and then pop it to go into Pankratops. This is the same thing that if you were to use a Baby as well as an Oviraptor. While we are talking about our core combo lines, it is important that we discuss what happens if you draw Archosaur. So if you guys saw my previous videos that I posted on the channel, I like Archosaur at 1. I just do, sue me, okay? I don't like to draw into it. So what happens when we do draw into it? Do we just hit the big red button and call it a day? Absolutely not. This is a 2-card combo deck like we mentioned, and it is all the same if we draw Archosaur and a Baby. Now you might be thinking, okay, that's not realistic to draw Archosaur and a Baby. Of course it is. We have 4 babies in the deck. We have 3 Fossil Digs. It's very likely that if we draw Archosaur, we might have one of those 7 cards as well, and we could pop off. So we're going to normal summon the Archosaur, and we are going to pop the baby. So this is going to be just the baby and the Archosaur. We are going to ignore the Misc in hand, okay? The popped baby is going to allow us to summon out our Soul-Eating Oviraptor. Soul-Eating Oviraptor is going to trigger upon summon, allowing us to search for our copy of Misc. And we are now going to activate this Miscellaneousaurus. Now, before you get ahead of yourself, do not activate Misc's second effect. We are going to go into Link Karibo here, sending the Archosaur to the grave. So what this does is this gives us an extra dino in the graveyard to revive back using Oviraptor's effect. We're going to get rid of the Archosaur. Be sure to get rid of the Archosaur and not the baby. We're going to go into Petite Pterodon. So remember, to activate Ovi's effect, you need to have a dino in the graveyard. So if we did it before we had the Archosaur in the grave, we wouldn't be able to, or we'd end up just bringing back the Archosaur, which is not what we want to do. So same thing here that you guys saw in the previous combo, Sprite Elf. Sprite Elf is going to bring back our Petite Pterodon, and we rinse and repeat. Ovi's going to eat the Petite. Baby Cerosaurus is going to be summoned. Petite is going to bring back our Xeno, or bring out our Xeno Meteorus. Xeno is going to pop the baby, summon the Frost, and then same thing, Yugioh Master Duel, Yugioh Giant Rex, whatever your heart desires. Dolka or Lagia here, whatever you'd like. Like I mentioned before, I prefer Dolka. Dolka's really good, man. Being able to negate and destroy is a crazy, crazy effect. Truly is. We go into our proxy copy of Evolzar Lars, and then boom, there we are. So we have the same setup that we had in the previous videos. Same thing, we have the follow-up with Petite, and we can go into Pink, and this is your core combo of the Misc and the Baby and the Archosaur stuff. So now let's get into some of the newer cards that have been added for dinos. The best 2-card combo that we currently have for dinos is Ground Xeno with Baby Cerosaurus. So Ground Xeno was added to Master Duel maybe about 3 months ago. It is such a good card with dinos. Here's how it works. But before we do that, I gotta let you guys know, you already know I got that Dino DNA. But did you also know that my cat Merlin here, he too has that Dino DNA. I guess it just runs in the family. So he's going to be telling me how this combo works, and I'll relay the message to you guys, okay? So we're gonna go Ground Xeno here. Okay, Ground Xeno allows us to search for a Dino Tuner or a normal Dino. We're gonna grab Xeno Meteorus, and then it allows us to pop a baby, okay? So we pop the baby, and we chain Xeno Meteorus to it. Now, Xeno Meteorus does not have to be chained directly to it, which is actually very important, because there are times where you're gonna wanna, you know, sometimes chain Ash to a opponent's Max E, and that comes in handy. So just something to keep in mind. You don't have to chain directly to it, which is awesome. The popped baby is going to let us get our soul-eating Oviraptor. So now Oviraptor is going to trigger, allowing us to add either Miscellaneousaurus or Baby Cerosaurus. You can add either one. I prefer to add Baby. Now, something to keep in mind with this combo is you are not going to be able to use Misc's effect from the hand to protect your monsters from being unaffected. So this combo does not give you the Misc protection. Just something to keep in mind if you're playing the 2-card combo. Now, obviously, if it's you got a Misc in hand, we got Pot of P here, for instance. If we dig for Misc, then of course you could do it. But in this particular combo with just 2 cards, you do not get the Misc protection. So before we continue, I'm going to ask you guys, if you enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like if you found it helpful. Also, consider subbing to the channel if you want to see more Dino content, if you want to develop that Dino DNA. All right. We are going to summon this baby, okay? And this summoned baby will be immediately devoured. Now, this is something to know about Master Duel. You always want to go for the far right baby, okay? You don't want to go for this one. This is the one that you just popped. And if you go for this one, then its effect will not trigger. So you go for the far right one. That's the one on the bottom of your graveyard. We're going to bring that one back, and we're going to use this baby effect here to summon out our Archosaur, okay? So you see how the combo is similar. We're just going about it a different way. So we're going to use the Archosaur effect to pop the baby, grab the pill to pop later, popping pills, popping babies. Baby effect will now trigger, and we will summon out our Miscellaneousaurus. Now, I will immediately go into our Dino monster here, Baron the Dinosaur, okay? Baron the Dinosaur is actually, he too has that Dino DNA in it.
Dino DNA.
And what they do is they are going to be able to pop a baby. So we are going to go Misc for 2. We are going to get rid of one of the babies in the graveyard. You could get rid of the Xeno Meteors. I prefer to get rid of one of the babies. And then you are going to see here, we are going to do similar to what we did in the past. We're going to go Link off Arch into Link Karibo, and then we're going to go into Sprite Elf. So yeah, Sprite Elf gives us that great protection. So now our Baron cannot be targeted, which is going to be very, very helpful. Also, we are going to bring back the Petite. And Baron the Dinosaur is going to pop the baby.
Dino DNA.
And then that baby is going to trigger, allowing us to summon either Misc or Giant Rex. Totally up to you. It's going to be follow-up for next turn. Let's go Misc. Okay. Now let's go into our Evolzar Dolka. You could go Logia here if you'd like as well, but I'm going to go Dolka. And then last but not least, we are going to go double Evo Pill. We're going to get rid of the Arch, get rid of Link Karibo, and summon out our copy of UCT. Now this is a very powerful board because remember, it also has that float effect next turn of being able to summon out our Petite Pterodon, pop that, and then be able to float into our Pankratops. So you're essentially talking about 1, 3, 4, 5 disruptions. So that's pretty powerful. We'd love to see it. We'd love to see dinos cook. This is with 2 cards only, and it's very easy to accomplish. If you guys want to see this combo again, watch it back, keep watching it, see the way we do it, see the order, the steps that we do it, memorize it, and cook with dinos. Now, similar to the Ground Xeno Baby combo, you could also pull this off with Ovi in Ground Xeno. So here's how this works. We're going to use Ovi. We're going to normal summon him, grab a baby, okay? The great thing about this deck is there are so many different 2-card combos. It's pretty wild the way you can just, you know, go into different strategies depending on what 2 cards you have in your hand. So we're going to activate Ground Xeno. We're going to pop this baby. Baby Chainlink 1. Xeno Chainlink 2. So we did normal summon the Ovi, remember that. So now with this with this baby, we are going to special summon another baby. Okay. We're going to eat the baby. Remember, grab the far right baby from our graveyard. This baby is going to trigger. Go into Archosaur. Archosaur now will pop this baby, letting us get our pill, and then we are going to summon out Misc, and the rest of the combo is exactly the same as the previous one. We go Baron the Dinosaur. We activate Misc for 2. Get rid of a baby. Summon out a Petite. And you just do the same thing from here. Go Link Karibo. Go into our copy of Sprite Elf using the Link Karibo and the Petite Pterodon. And you are essentially cooking from here, you know? So it's very easy to set this up, because remember too, guys, something to keep in mind in terms of consistency with this deck. We have 3 copies of Fossil Dig. Fossil Dig lets us get whatever we want, essentially, you know? So Baron the Dinosaur pops the Petite.
Dino DNA.
Petite triggers. Grab Misc. Overlay into, let's say, Logia this time. And then UCT. So yeah, the good thing is Fossil Dig gives us so much consistency, and because we have Misc at 3, remember the TCG does not have that, we really could be cooking with this deck. And this is a huge board here. This is a huge board. UCT is a unique disruption. Logia is a Solemn Judgment. Omni Negate. Then we got the Pank after that. This is the way to play dinos. All right, so what do you do in the situation where you're stuck? You don't really have your 2 key cards. You don't have Ground Xeno. You don't have a Misc. You're missing a baby maybe. What do you do? So in this particular situation, we'll call this a 1.5 card combo. Okay? We are going to summon out our Oviraptor. So let's say we just have Ovi and another dino in hand. Okay? We are going to now grab the Misc. We'll add the Misc to our hand. okay? Protect ourselves from being affected by card effects for this main phase. Now we're going to activate Misc's effect and go into our Archosaur. Archosaur is going to trigger, and we're going to pop, let's say we pop the Giant Rex, okay? Pop the Giant Rex, pretend the Xeno Meteorus isn't there. So now we have double Evo Pill, okay? And how are we going to use it is the question. What can we do with this double Evo Pill? Well, essentially, it's triggering now because it's saying I could use this Nibiru in my hand, but let's say this Nibiru is not here either. How do we do this? Okay, so if you need to get a Dino and a non-Dino in your graveyard, it's very simple with the extra deck that we have constructed here. You are going to go into Archosaur. You're going to go into Linkuriboh with Archosaur. So you guys have seen this before, obviously. But now what you're going to do is you're going to link that Linkuriboh into Secure Gardna. So now we have the non-Dino in the graveyard, which is required for double Evo Pill. Unless you want to use this from your hand, but we don't want to use stuff from our hand. So now what we're going to do is we'll go double Evo Pill, okay? We will banish the Giant Rex from the grave and banish the Linkuriboh to go into our copy of UCT, okay? Now, with this particular combo, we could say this is a 2-card combo with Ovi and Giant Rex. Because if you have Ovi and Giant Rex in hand, and you do this, the Giant Rex comes back when it's banished. So we are not going to activate Ovi's second effect, unfortunately. But we are still going to end on a solid board, you know? This is a board that's not to be trifled with, honestly. Dolka and UCT, solid board. Solid end board considering you only had the Ovi in hand. So this is what you do if you get stuck. Remember, the Secure Gardna and the Linkuriboh, being able to get that Linkuriboh in the graveyard with Secure Gardna is huge for this deck. I get asked a lot, what do I usually use Small World for in this deck? Small World's kind of a confusing card, so I understand the unsureness of playing it. So in this case, what I'm going to try to point out here is by getting rid of an Earth monster. So a lot of times, let's say you have Ovi in hand and you need the Misc, okay? And you have Maxi in hand, which is an Earth. Or you have Pankratops in hand, which is an Earth. So let's get rid of the Pankratops. And then from here, what I would do is, and this is because I got rid of Pankratops, I will usually get rid of my UCT. Now, if you get rid of UCT, yes, you're cutting down one of your UCTs in the deck, which sucks, but getting rid of UCT with that second effect lets you get essentially any Dino card from your deck. So that is huge, something to keep in mind there. So that would have worked just the same if we would have gotten rid of our Petite Pterodon as well. So that is usually how my thinking goes when I'm playing Small World. Other times it might be an Ash Blossom, but then Ash Blossom allows me to banish a Misc, and then Misc will allow me to, you know, get another monster out of the deck that, you know, might be a starter piece for me. So Misc would allow me to search for a baby in that particular situation. So it's very situation dependent, depending on what you need, but typically that's how I go about it with Small World. So this is the deck list that we have in anticipation of Evolzar Lars' advent, okay? Not much has changed. We took out the Megalo Smasher X for Frostosaurus. If you guys want to see my full deck breakdown, I'll link it above. It's I posted a couple Dino videos ago on the channel. But yeah, we put back Frostosaurus, and we are going to just take out Solda and put in Lars, and it's that simple. Guys, I am so excited for Lars to come. Something else that you can consider with this deck, I will throw in this little tidbit, is I've been considering playing another copy of Small World. As it stands right now, I'd probably take out a Bell or maybe Triple Tactics Talent. I'm not sure right now. We currently have 12 going second cards, including the Pankratops and the TTT with 10 hand traps. So you can cut one of them. 12 out of 40 cards are going second. So that's a solid number. You can make it 11 and add more consistency with the Small World. But yeah, guys, this is what we're going to cook with. I'm super excited. I will be participating, hopefully, in the Meta Weekly when Lars is dropped. So if you guys want to see my duels in Decade's tournament, be sure to drop a follow on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/KingMatty. Drop a follow. come support, come check out. Hopefully we cook up some stuff with our Dino DNA. Guys, I'm so pumped for Lars. I will see you guys when it comes out. I'll be definitely making an update video. Hopefully it'll be one talking about how we won the Meta Weekly with Lars. We'll see though. Peace and love, Habibis. Take care of yourselves. Go out everywhere and make somebody's day special.